Hi. So, now that I am relatively calm, my heartbeat is still racing a little bit, and my emotions are all over the place, but I have stopped crying. I thought I would try, although I'm sure I won't be able to do it justice, to review what I just watched today. There's, there exists many books and many films regarding the Holocaust, and I own practically all of them. Today, I just finished watching, and I binge watched it from 8 a.m., and I literally finished it like 20 minutes ago. The Tattooist of Auschwitz, which is currently showing on Sky, at least in my part of the world. It's 6 episodes, 7 if you count the little bit at the end where they tell you how the film was made, which you know me, as I'm watching it and I'm looking at the set, I'm like, how did they do that? It must have cost a fortune to do that. But the set aside, the series, while it's not intended to be a definitive representation of the Holocaust, what it does do is capture one person's perceptive, one person's experience of the 3 years he spent at Auschwitz-Birkenau. When they first came out with some years ago, these warnings on TV that said contains distressing scenes, may disturb sensitive viewers, I was irritated by that. But in the case of this series, you need to be warned. I think it was, I'm not sure what time it was, 7:30, 8 a.m., and it was raining. And I didn't feel like getting up, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to just lay in bed and watch this. At the end of episode 2, I found myself running for the toilet because there was a scene that was so disturbing to me that I thought I was going to throw up. I began to dry heave. And having said that, though, what this film is primarily, according to the man who lived it, Lali Sokolov, born Ludwig Eisenberg, it's a love story. And that's what intrigued me because it was billed as a love story set against the backdrop of Auschwitz. And I'm like, and there's a line in the series where the Blockel test of the women's barracks, where Gita, Lali's girlfriend, soon, she becomes his wife later, stays. The Blockel test says there is no love here, but somehow, in the midst of Holocaust hell, these two people, Lali and Gita, meet and they fall in love and they survive and they find each other after the camp is liberated. And they get married and immigrate to Australia. It's not exactly a happily ever after story. The story also deals with, it's historical, obviously, in that it covers World War II and how Lali came to be at the camp and how Gita came to be there and certain events in the camp. But it also deals with trauma, because for the rest of his life, Lali and Gita experienced extreme trauma, which is not surprising to me. I mean, one of my favorite books is by Elie Wiesel. He did Night. There's actually a trilogy. He wrote Night and then Dawn and then The Accident. And when he was taken to Auschwitz, he was 11. So you can just imagine the trauma he endured lifelong. The difference between Lali's memories and Elie's are that Elie Wiesel, when asked, "Do you still believe in God?" he was like, "Yes." And Lali was like, "No." And that's always been something I puzzled with great disasters and stuff, I mean, the really bad historical stuff. Vietnam, the Khmer Rouge, World War II, slavery. Where was God in all of this? If he's love, then how could he allow this to happen? At any rate, the acting in this, particularly Harvey Keitel as the elderly Lali Sokolov, is definitely worth a watch. I'm a huge Harvey Keitel fan anyway. He's been around for years, and from the 1997 film Smoke to City of Industry to Bad Lieutenant to his role as Mr. White in Reservoir Dogs, Harvey Keitel never fails to deliver. So his performance as an elderly Lali Sokolov trying to divest himself of his ghosts and his memories before he dies is just, it's extremely poignant and haunting. It's also about, not just the love story and the Holocaust, but, the resilience of the human spirit and how memory, ghosts haunt you. And it was something I could definitely relate to as I watched the story, because I have my own ghosts that have haunted me for years. And the way they depict this in the film is brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. So that is why I highly recommend this film. There has been a bit of controversy around the book because there are some people who claim it's not historically accurate. And Lali himself didn't write the book. He had a woman write it for him. Her name is Heather Morris. And there's a sequel, not actually a sequel, but it's kind of like tied in with Lali's story, called Silke. Silke was a woman they both knew in the camp and who they met years later after immigrating to Australia. And there is, like there is in all of all Holocaust renditions, the guy in the Nazi in this, Stefan Berlitsky, I think his name is. He's even more evil than the Amon Goth character in Schindler's List. He's absolutely a true, brutal psychopath. I can't say enough about this. I don't want to say too much about this because I really want you to watch it. Yes, it's grim, but having said that, it's worth it to see the way Lali and Gita hold on to hope and survive. So that is The Tattooist of Auschwitz, currently showing on Sky. Normally, if there's a book, I tend to read the book first and then watch the film, but I didn't get to do that with this. So, having watched the film and recommending it to you, I am going to go to Waterstones tomorrow or Monday and buy both books and read it and make the comparison. And that's all I have to say about that. Thank you to my very special 31st subscriber. Thank you, as always, to everybody who tunes in. Please enjoy the rest of your weekend and stay safe for me. I'll talk to you soon.